Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Josh, Tony, Dan, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining. Burke, thanks for joining. I'm just going to start by posting a quick poll, which you will be able to see. And what I'd love before I dive into the presentation is for you guys to submit your answers. And the question, if you go to the poll section, which you'll see at the bottom of this recording, the question is, what feature do you plan to use the most? And the options you have are playlisting, social ad booking, benchmark insights, to-dos, and fan hub. So this is what feature do you plan to use the most on the Unheard product? And I would love to hear your responses to that. I can already see some responses coming in, so thank you so much. And today's session is going to be a nice intimate session, which I'm really pleased about, whereby I'll be showcasing our product and best practices. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you how the product works on iOS, so on your mobile, because the majority of our users are using mobile first. But please bear in mind that we have feature parity on desktop. So if you want to use the product on desktop, you can. It works in exactly the same way, except you'll be using your laptop or your computer instead of your mobile device. But today I'm going to talk through how it works on mobile. And I see we've got some new people joining. So guys, for those that have just joined, I put a poll into this chat which says, what feature do you plan to use the most on the Unheard product? So please go and add your vote into the poll. The options are playlisting, social ad booking, benchmark insights, to-dos, and fan hub. So I'm going to jump straight into a demo. Before I do, I just want to check that you guys can see my screen. So could somebody put a message in to confirm? Actually, I've just got a thumbs up that you can see my screen, so that's great. So what I'm going to do, the format of today, I'm going to run through the product so you'll be able to see how the product works. And then I am going to open up the floor for questions. I've already had some questions submitted, but I'll open up the floor for questions specifically around the product. But of course, if you have any general marketing questions, I'm here for that too. So how this works, I'm just going to go back a couple of steps. Once an artist first logs into the product, you search for your Spotify name. And obviously, as a Britney fan, let's use Britney. And then we pull in your data from all of the public connections that we make with the streaming and social media platforms. And the first thing we do is we pull in the description about you as an artist, and we pull in some information via the metadata that we collect around your genres as well on Spotify specifically. So you see this on your profile page. Then you click on your home page, and here things get a bit more interesting for artists. The first thing we show you is a quick health check or snapshot of the last 7 days' performance across your key streaming and social media metrics. So you can see from Spotify through to TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, we present you with as much information here as possible just to give you an idea on how you're trending over the last 7 days. And if you want to dive into this data further, you absolutely can. And how you do that is by clicking on the Insights tab at the bottom next to Profile. And here we show you deeper, more granular insights across all of the streaming and social media platforms that are important to you as an artist. So from Spotify through to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Amazon, the full spectrum of platforms that are critical to you. Now let's just look at Spotify for now, and I'll come back to the insight in a second. So we're showing you listeners versus followers over time, and you can change the time frames. You can scroll to see the exact numbers at the exact dates. We show you your top countries, so where people are listening to your music in terms of country. We show you top cities, so where people are listening to your music in terms of city. We show you your most popular songs, which gives you an indication on where you could focus your marketing efforts based on song popularity. And you'll notice as well, you can view all across all of these key metrics we show you to see a more exhaustive list. We also show you information, this is just looking at Spotify, by the way, but we also show you information about your playlists in the playlist tab. Here we're showing you playlist count versus playlist reach. Now we get a lot of questions around what playlist count and reach mean. So let me tell you, playlist count is the number of playlists that you are on. So that's the volume of playlists that are featuring your tracks. Playlist reach is the cumulative number of followers of all of those playlists. So it's essentially the potential reach you have of reaching as many people as possible by featuring in those playlists. And we show you how that changes over time. Now, with all of our charts, just to mention, you can toggle on and off specific metric. So if you think the chart looks messy, if you're looking at playlist count and reach, then you can just look at playlist count, and vice versa. You can look at just playlist reach. We show you your feature playlists, so which playlists are you on that are featuring your music. And then on the popularity tab, we do a quick competitor analysis. So what we show you here is your listener to follower ratio, which is the conversion. So how many of your listeners are converting into followers? And then on the popularity tab, this is where we show you Spotify's popularity index. Now, this is a metric that's indicative of your progress versus your competitor set on Spotify. And then finally, your competition. So who sits in your competition bucket on Spotify? And then you can see who that is, and perhaps you can dive into their profiles a little bit to understand how you can start to outcompete your similar artists on Spotify. Now, we could be here for hours, and I'm conscious we've only got half an hour today. If I was to go through all of the different streaming and social platforms, I won't, but I would encourage you to actively do that. One thing I would want to mention here as well is if you don't have, for example, Amazon data, Instagram data, please send us a message and we will make sure to connect your profiles for you. So send us a message on the chat system that I'll show you in a second, and we will then upload all of your data for you. Now, I wanted to come back to this insights tool because at Unheard, the beating heart of our business is the way we process data and turn that data into actionable insight for you as an artist. No, artists aren't marketeers. They can't be expected to interpret their data and make sense of it, but we can. And this feature here is exactly that. So this feature, what it does is it shows you how you compare versus your similar artists in terms of growth over the last 14 days. So we're just looking at Spotify followers for now, but you could look at listeners. You could also look on Instagram and you can see your traction on Instagram followers versus similar artists. And let's just go back to Spotify. And what we're saying here for Britney Spears is that in the last 14 days, her listeners have decreased. So in terms of her competition versus her competitor set, she sits in the bottom 10%. She's actually right at the bottom versus her competitor set. And what she would want to do is to outcompete her similar artists. And the way she could do this is by launching a growth campaign directly from this view, where we will automatically build your audience for you and allow you to run a well-targeted ad campaign to grow your Spotify listeners. If you were looking at Spotify followers, you could launch an automated growth campaign to grow your Spotify followers. I've seen the question come in. I'll come back to you during a second. But yes, we do cover other streaming platforms. Absolutely. So this view here, I wanted to show you. This is called the Benchmark Insights tool. It's a pro feature. It sits behind our pro membership, but it's really, really powerful. So that was data and insights. Now I wanted to cover is our recommendations. So we have a great list, a really valuable list of to-dos or tasks. And these are tasks that an artist can carry out to prepare for their upcoming release, to maximize the potential of their upcoming release, and to promote their music. So let's just go through some of the most popular to-dos and tasks now. Pitching to playlists. I could see in the poll that playlisting was really, really popular. And we've got a great playlisting tool which facilitates pitches to high-value, high-quality playlist curators. So how does this work? You choose the song you would like to pitch to a playlist. This could be one of your most recent singles. It could also be a song from an album, but let's just choose a track. Now you can pitch multiple tracks at the same time. We hit continue. And here our algorithm kicks into action and identifies the most relevant and powerful third-party playlist for your music. What we then do is we go through the list and we select the playlist that we're interested in pitching to. We hit continue. And then once we confirm and pay, we pay £6 or $6.99 per playlist that we would like to pitch to. This submission is then sent into our curator marketplace. Now we have thousands of curators managing submissions in their own marketplace. Once you confirm and pay, this track will be sent into that marketplace where the playlist curator that you have chosen to pitch to will leave you feedback. They will listen to their song and they will review your song. So you always get feedback, you're guaranteed feedback with your submission. If they like your song, they will place your track on their playlist. 70% of submissions are successful and 30% are not successful, but do receive feedback. And we're always open to discussing how we can improve the quality of your track to then lead to a successful playlist placement. So that is our playlist placement tool. Now, it's £6.99 per playlist you pitch to, but if you are a pro member, you get a discounted playlist submission rate. I'm going to come on to TikTok followers in a second, but a few of the things I wanted to show you on the homepage before we move on are creating your own fan hub, which is really, really important. Because as an artist, it's really challenging to connect directly with your audience. What you really want to do as an artist is use the streaming and social media platforms to build as much awareness as possible. They're awareness platforms. And then you want to capture that audience and bring it offline into your own email database, your own WhatsApp community, your own Discord community. Now, we've built a website builder, which allows you to build a website where you can start to collect email addresses, phone numbers, build your Discord and your WhatsApp communities. And let me show you quickly how this works. The first thing you do, you input your artist name and you create a short bio. You can enhance that bio with AI using our AI tool. What you then do is you input important links to you. So these are links that you want to drive your fans to. So it could be your GoFundMe page, for example. Once you've inputted your important links, you then choose on the community page which bits of data you would like to collect from your audience. So do you want to collect email addresses? Do you want to collect phone numbers? Do you want to build your Discord channel or your WhatsApp group? You then move on to putting in your most recent release. So this is a spotlight release that you want to drive traffic to. So you put in your Spotify link, your Apple Music link, YouTube Music link. Then you can link to a music video as well. So you can showcase your new music via a music video. Then you can connect all of your streaming and social media platforms and profiles. You can also input your Meta and your TikTok pixel to collect data of people that are landing on your website. Then you choose your background. Then you can preview your website, and then you can launch your website. This is really, really powerful, and I would urge artists to start to use our Fan Hub to collect first-party data. Now, again, this is a pro feature, so it sits behind our pro membership paywall. And by the way, our pro membership is £9.99 a month or £99.90 per annum. So that's the Fan Hub. So what have I shown you so far? I've shown you the playlisting tool. I've showed you the data insights. I've showed you the Fan Hub, and I've shown you the to-do list. Now let me go to view all on the to-do list and show you a couple of other really powerful features that we have on the app. The first thing I wanted to show you is our partner network. So we have an awesome partnership network with lots of partners that add value to your artist journey along the way. Some of these partners include Amazon Merch on Demand. So if you want to create merch on demand via Amazon, you can do that through our platform, and we will link out directly to Amazon Merch on Demand, and you can start to use that tool. We work with engineers, which is an awesome network of high quality engineers that will mix and master your music properly. We work with Lalo. Lalo is a great drop tool. They're called the CRM for music. And what they allow you to do is to collect email addresses, collect phone numbers, and really manage via a CRM system the audience that you've built. And I won't go through the other partners, but we have lots and lots of other amazing partners that you can engage with through our product. Then what we have are what I like to call static recommendations. Now, these are great for your checklist before you release any music. These are things like a PR checklist. So have you got a PR checklist, a list of things you need to go through before you do any press pitching? This will get you set up for your first ever press release. We've also got things like get a professionally written press release, which is really easy for you to send an inquiry to get your first ever press release written for you. We also have digital health checks, marketing and campaign templates, lots of other amazing resources that you can engage with and download and save and keep that are available for free. Now, the final thing I want to show you is our ads tool. It's really challenging for artists to run well-targeted advertisements. You know, I remember when I was coming through and I was running lots of ads for different artists, it is really challenging to run a well-targeted ad. You need to know the locations you should be targeting. You need to know the interests and the targeting preferences you should be using. You need to know which link to be linking out to, which creative you should be using. It is really tough, but we've made it simple. So let me show you how. You choose the platform you would like to grow. So this could be growing TikTok views. It could be growing your Amazon Music streams. And Drew, to your point, this is where you can start to promote your music across the different streaming and social media platforms. It could be Apple Music streams. It could be growing your Spotify streams, your YouTube music streams. You could increase your Facebook or Instagram followers, or your Spotify followers, or your TikTok followers. So there's lots and lots of options across all streaming and social platforms. Let's just choose Spotify followers here. And we click Start Campaign. Now, bear in mind, if I had chosen to grow my TikTok followers or boost my TikTok views, I would want to connect to my TikTok ad account here. But because we're growing Spotify followers, we're connecting to our Meta ad account. We know that's far more effective to drive growth in your Spotify followers. So that's why we encourage you to connect to your Meta account here. But if you are trying to grow your TikTok followers, you will connect to your TikTok ad account. Let's hit continue. The first thing you do is you select your budget. So this could be whatever you want it to be. You hit continue. You then choose the start and the end date for your advertisement. Then we pre-populate the locations for you. Now, we haven't pre-populated them here, but typically what we will do for artists is we will pre-populate the key regions you should be targeting. If you don't see any locations, you can always search for locations to add into the targeting preferences and add those in. Age and demographic targeting, we pre-populate for you based on your data. But of course, you can go in and you can make suggestions. And then the interest targeting. So we do some affinity analysis, it's called, on Instagram, to identify the most relevant and powerful audiences for your advertisement. And what we're doing here, bear in mind that we're using Britney Spears. So what we do is we look for people that have similar interests to Britney as they do to Britney Spears. So for example, if I'm a Britney Spears fan, I am also a fan, most likely, of the Spice Girls, the Pussycat Dolls, Nelly Furtado. And so what we want to do is reach more people who are fans of these similar artists within a similar network to Britney Spears. So here you can see we built a really powerful affinity audience, we could call it, or prospecting audience to reach fans of similar artists who have similar interests, who follow similar brands. And you can then go in and make some small tweaks. So we could remove Kesha, for example. We could add in Shakira. We could add in Justin Timberlake. And there you can see in just a few clicks, we've built a really well-targeted advertisement to drive growth in Spotify followers. Now, I want to show you guys a little hack. So if you haven't got much data, I'm just going to remove all of these interests now. If you haven't got much data at all, you'll be served with this, right? No interests. This isn't really very helpful. But what I'd encourage you to do is think of an artist who is 5 to 10 years ahead of you in your genre, creates similar music to you, and has an audience that you would like to have. So let's say I'm a hip hop artist. I might want to build an audience that is similar to Jay-Z's audience. So I search for Jay-Z and I put them in there. And then what we do is we make suggestions based on this one artist. So if you haven't got data, think of an artist who is 10 years ahead of you, who has a great audience, plug them in, and then we will start to make suggestions for you based on that artist. And you can see really quickly now, I can build a very, very good and powerful hip hop audience. We then help you design your ad by bringing in a high-res image. We then also pre-populate the landing page link. And then I actively encourage you to go and add some copy with some personality, some emotion. Add an emoji, for example. And if you don't like the image that we've recommended, you can go to your meta library and you can use a video or an image that you've used before. Or you can upload an image or a video from your mobile phone. And then you confirm and pay, and you make an in-app purchase, and that in-app purchase is £7.99. And that will then set your ad live, which will be optimized towards growing whichever streaming or social media metric you would like to grow. Now, it's £7.99, but if you are a pro member for just £9.99 a month, you get unlimited no-fee advertising. So you don't have to pay for that advertisement. Other thing I wanted to show you, which is really, really important, and I think one of the most valuable things on the product, if you go to settings and you hit support, you can send us a direct message. This comes directly into the team here at Unheard. And you can have a chat with us. You can communicate directly with us, and we will give you hints and tips. We will guide you through any issues that you're facing. And we will also give you general best practices on how to promote your music effectively. So please do check out our instant chat system. It's really, really powerful. So that is a quick overview of our product. I'd like to open the floor for questions. I have received some questions already, which I will be answering, but please add your questions into the Q&A section and I will answer those for you. So I'm going to go through from top to bottom of the questions that I can see in the Q&A, and then I'll come to the other questions I've been asked already in a second. So Drew, I think I covered your question already. But absolutely, we cover other streaming platforms. You know, sometimes Spotify isn't always the right platform for an artist. We also cover social media platforms. So if you want to start driving growth on your TikTok, on your Instagram, your Facebook, we cover that too. Anton, instead of using algorithmic playlists, is there a way to view all playlists in the network, potentially sort by keyword or follow account? It's a great question. So we have thought about having a search function where you can search for playlists, search across all playlists in our network. Absolutely. What I would say to you in terms of a shortcut there is we work with a company called Playlist Supply. Now, Playlist Supply give you a full view on all playlists on Spotify, and you can search by genre. You can search whether they've got contact details or not. It's a really cool tool. So I would recommend checking out Playlist Supply, and you'll be able to then search through all playlists that you want to. Now, obviously, we're focusing more on matching you with the right playlists, you know, based on the size of you as an artist, based on your genre, and based on kind of how the track sounds overall. So our matching system takes away a lot of the legwork that you've got to do when going through Playlist Supply, for example, manually. But if you want a more exhaustive list, Playlist Supply will be really good for you. Hopefully that answers your question, Anton, but if not, then please follow on underneath. And Tony, where is the website hosted? So the website is at unheardmusic.com. I'm going to put it here, app.unheardmusic.com. That's where you can find our website. And we're based in the UK, but our servers host this all over the world. And then Dan, we want to start running playlist and advertising campaigns. As I work across various campaigns, getting my boss to put in the company card every time we set up a campaign isn't viable. Is there an option to pay on invoice? Dan, it's a great question. What I would suggest is one of two things. One is if you join the Pro membership, you get no fee advertising, so you won't have to pay each time you run an ad. Now, you will, of course, still have to pay on the playlisting side, so that could still be an issue. But Dan, if you send us an email, depending on the volume of which you're using the product, you could qualify for our select tier. So this is a really nice segue into the different offerings we have for our artists. So we have our essentials tier, which is the product is free to log into, it's free to use, but we charge you £6.99 per playlist you pitch to, or £7.99 per social media ad you run. That is our essentials tier. Then we have our pro tier. And in our pro tier, you pay £9.99 a month or £99.90 per annum. And within that tier, you get access to our fan hub. First of all, you get access to unlimited data. You get access to a one-to-one marketing expert. You get no fee advertising and a discounted playlisting service. And then the final tier I wanted to mention for you, Dan, is our select tier. So in our select tier, we handpick a number of artists. So you've got to kind of make the criteria if you like to fall into that select tier. But we then work directly with you, Dan. So we will actually set your ads up for you. We will pitch the playlist for you. We will run your strategy for you. We will brainstorm on content ideas. You essentially get a great marketing team that's underpinned by our technology. And we'll assign you with a project manager. We have regular check-ins. So there are certain criteria that need to be met to fit into that select tier. But that could be kind of cool, Dan, depending on what you're spending on your ads and that sort of thing. So if interesting, then ping me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat and we can have a chat about that. So hopefully that's cool, Dan. And then Josh, do Unheard give advice on creating suitable videos for ads on Facebook and TikTok? Absolutely, Josh, we do. So we have some great resources on this. Two things actually on this. Let me say two things. One is the TikTok Creative Center is really, really good for giving you ideas on things that are trending. This could be music that's trending. It could be hashtags that are trending. It could be content that's trending. So I definitely recommend checking out the TikTok Creative Center, first and foremost. Secondly, we have some great resources in-app around types of content that you should be creating. We also have a great blog, which gives you very relevant and topical things that you could be jumping onto in terms of trends on TikTok that might work for you based on your genre. And then also check out our YouTube. We recently did a masterclass with a guy called Ayaz, who runs a company that specializes in helping artists create their content across social media, execute on digital strategies. And there's a masterclass on YouTube with Ayaz, which covers just this. It covers all about types of content you should be creating. So Josh, I'd recommend actually checking out that resource, which is on our YouTube channel. It's a masterclass. So go and have a little look. Let me know what you think. But also send us a message through the support chat if you want to. Thanks, Josh. And then Tony, what you have described is what Spotify for Artists does and Submit does. Why is Unheard better? That is a great question. So Tony, a couple of things. So Spotify for Artists are just focused on a few things. One is promoting, for example, your music via a marquee or an advertisement that goes onto the freemium platform, right? So you can do Spotify ads that go into the freemium Spotify ecosystem, targeting people that haven't subscribed, or you could do a marquee ad that allows you to then, push your music to people that are subscribed. And they also offer, obviously, the editorial playlist pitching, which is highly competitive and highly unlikely for a lot of independent artists. But that is all focused on Spotify. For us, we're platform agnostic, right? So we focus on helping you promote your music on Spotify, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on, Apple Music. So that works in our favor. A lot of artists want to grow their social media channels rather than just their Spotify profile. The other thing I'd say that on Spotify, you've got to be spending at least kind of £250, $250 to start to drive some momentum there. Whereas with us, it's slightly different. You could spend $25 and $10 even and start to drive some success. Interestingly, on that point, artists that are spending money on our playlisting tool, on average, see a 250% uplift in their streams over a 14-day period. And they aren't spending a lot of money. So you can drive good consumption with a little bit, only a small amount of spend. And then Submit Hub, very a great tool, very focused on pitching to playlists, pitching to blogs, pitching to influencers now as well, or creators. I think our unique proposition is that we take data, we ingest as much data as possible about an artist, and then we use that data to power promotional campaigns and automate as much as possible. So I think that processing of our data and our recommendation algorithms that do just that, to match you with the right playlist or allow you to run ads, again, sets us apart from Submit Hub. But Submit Hub's great. I think Submit Hub's a really cool platform. And then Tony, so okay, where is that hosted? So we host that on our own servers, Tony. So you don't need to worry about any hosting costs. We host that for you. But you have a bespoke URL. So you can create your own URL. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for those questions. Dan, that's great. Send me an email. Thank you so much for all of your engagement as well. I love answering questions from our artist community, and I'm always open to that. So if you guys want to send us an email, send us a message, please do. I'll put my email address here into the bottom of the chat, and I very much look forward to hearing from you. So hopefully that was useful. We will put this onto our YouTube channel, so you can go and watch it back. And like I said, if you have any questions, please let us know. And thank you so much for being a part of our Unheard community. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great Wednesday evening and see you soon.